Welcome back, everyone, for part two, not part two, but for our second half of our forum. This part of our forum is talking about starting a business. But before I even talk about that, like we have these jobs and everything, and we work. And the thing is that sometimes the job, some of us live from paycheck to paycheck. But we really don't have to live from paycheck to paycheck if we have another means of income. So this segment here is going to talk about streams of income. And I can attest to that because I have like 4 or 5 streams of income coming in. And it's my play money. And it helps a lot. It helps a lot, especially if your money is short. So it's important for you to have a business. Like we had a women's breakfast the other day, a couple of Sundays ago for Mother's Day. And I was having coffee, and I like creamer in mine. Everybody knows who Paris Hilton is, right? She's an heiress. A billionaireess. She has streams of income. She has a coffee mate creamer. It was called champagne raspberry, delicious. She doesn't need it, but she makes her money continuously work for her. It keeps turning over and over and over again. But that's how we should think. We should think about having streams of income so that, God forbid, if we were to lose that job that we once loved or didn't love, we have those streams of income to fall back on until we get that job that we want again. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Keon Williams. He's with New York Business Solutions, and I'll read his bio. Keon is an account manager for NYC Small Business Services cannabis service line. He brings experience in both financial history, where he's worked to help small businesses access capital, as well as the insurance industry, where he helped businesses, individuals, and families protect, accumulate, and generate wealth. And that's critical. So I present to you Keon Williams.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you guys for inviting me over today. I am a part of the Queens Business Solutions Center here located on Suffolk Boulevard, so you guys can stop by on the weekdays. And our main focus really at the Business Solutions Centers, going over here, is we know as a city agency, we are part of the NYC Department of Small Business Services. We help unlock economic potential and create economic security for New Yorkers by connecting New Yorkers to good jobs, creating stronger businesses, and building thriving neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs. So a little bit about our services here. Let me see. These are all the services that we provide here at the Business Solutions Center, where, of course, we have our business courses. Majority of our courses are online, virtually via Zoom, but we do have in-person courses as well, where you'll be on the location site on Suffolk Boulevard at our Business Solutions Center. And these courses are going to highlight majority of a plethora of things as far as how to start a business, how to operate a business, and just how to expand your business overall. So, ideally, we would love you guys to start, at the beginning stages of our course pathway, where it's how to get your business from from an idea to actual in reality, and that goes with, establishing things such as an LLC, writing a business plan, where we provide assistance in that as well. And then, of course, getting more into deeper things when we talk about accessing capital, which I'll get into later in the presentation. But that's just one of the things that we offer, our business courses, legal assistance as well. And then I want to, just emphasize that all our services are free. So you can lean on us on pretty much anything from, starting a business, operating, and expanding. And, in the legal umbrella, we help with, commercial lease assistance. A lot of times, a lot of you guys are going back and forth with landlords, and sometimes that can get complicated. So we have an attorney that we help that can represent you on those legal inquiries as well. Reviewing contracts. A lot of you times when you get into business, you're going to deal with a lot of contracts from individuals, contractors when you're trying to hire someone for a specific job, lease agreements, selling parts of your business, things of that nature. We also provide assistance in that as well. And then financing. Financing is almost one of the most important things when it comes to, operating or establishing a business. is access to capital. And that's the main thing that this presentation is going to be talking about and highlighting today, is how to access capital, financing for your business. A lot of people believe that you got to have, the perfect credit score, equity, collateral, things of that nature, where there are financial institutions out there that lend to people in that pre-startup stage that really have nothing. Now, it won't be a large dollar amount. We may have to do more work as far as the financial projection sheet, the business plan, but there is opportunities for people that have nothing to start, running a business. Navigating governments, selling to government and MWBE, that is something that allows you to receive contracts with the city. So the city is required to give 30% of contracts out to small business owners. And if you have an MWBE certification, you just have to be in business for at least a year. You'll be able to receive that certificate, which allows you to bid. As you can see, it's a lot of small business owners that were a part of the the JFK, expansion on that. As you can see with the casino that was built, a lot of small business were a part of that, receiving those type of MWBE contracts. Training is something that we also provide. So if you were trying to train your employees on a new skill set, we reimburse you with that training cost. So that's one thing that's really great. If you already have, a service and you're trying to, just upgrade the training of your employees, and let's say if they're trying to pick up a new skill such as, IT or things that's involving around small business and you need them to get trained up on it, we provide you that reimbursement as well. So that's something that's pretty cool. And then recruitment, if you were looking to hire a staff, we partner with Workforce One, where you will sit down, take an intake form, you'll be able to vet out exactly what type of employees you're looking for, and then Workforce will put that, that ad on different LinkedIn platforms and all that good stuff. So this is just basically just to show you exactly how we are, a one-stop shop from helping you establish a business to expanding and growing. So today we're going to be highlighting the financing aspect of a small business. Let's see here. I don't know how to work this one. Okay. So today we're just going to be going over exactly how to prepare for an application, what the applications are most likely going to look like when it comes to asking for capital financing. Calculating the loan repayment, that's very important when you go into asking someone for money. You got to break down exactly the interest that they're charging on that loan. How you're going to be able to pay back, what those numbers look like. Those are very important before you go asking anyone, to borrow some capital for your business. So this is the first steps before applying, what to look for. Questions to ask, steps to take before applying, determining the loan amount for your business that you want to request, preparing the proper documentation, and what type of lenders to go for. A lot of times we are only aware of the commercial lenders, such as, Bank of America, Chase, TD, where we, have a lot of other community banks, CDFIs, that put aside a budget to fund small businesses in their community at a very low interest rate. So the first thing we're going to go over is a different type of loan products and funding. We have a traditional business loan, the pros of, tax deductions on the interest payments. Lenders usually do not interfere with the business decision. So once you receive that money, you can pretty much do anything with it for your business. And then there's a different variety of different type of products in the financing industry. So for instance, you can have a term loan, which expands out to a certain amount of date when the payment is due. You can have a line of credit, which is kind of similar to like a credit card in a business loan aspect, where you can use it when you need it and borrow, and that's when the interest will accumulate. And then you have equity. And then you have a micro business loan, where it's a lower amount, but it still works just as a traditional loan as well. And then everyone's favorite is a grant, free money, something that you don't have to pay back. Those are extremely challenging to get, obviously, because everyone is applying for them. But they're out there. Most of the time, you're going to have to do your own homework on different platforms. We have a platform called NYC's Funds Finder that I'm going to show later in the presentation that highlights different grants that's available for the city. You just have to stay active on it and continue to refresh it and see. But, they upload a lot of grants that the city agencies provide for small business owners. And And then we have equity is another form of funding, where investors, you could bring somebody, you can find angel investors, someone that believe in the business, review the business plan, and they can require some equity in your business for you to receive some of the money that they're going to invest in you. And then this is just a few questions to ask before you think about, applying for a loan. Is it a good business decision to take a loan out right now? A lot of times people just feel like, if they are eligible receiving money, why not take it? But sometimes that may not be the best case for your situation. So it's just making sure if it's a good business decision to take a loan out right now. Also, a great question to ask is, will I have enough revenue to cover my business expenses and the loan payment? So that's one of the most important things when it comes to financial projection sheets. Understanding how to read financial documentations is understanding if I take this loan, will I be able to not only pay, my utility bills for my business, pay my inventory, but also be able to pay the loan payment. So we highlight that before we go into applying for different loans to make sure the business can sustain the loan amount and be able to pay back the loan. And then another great question is, will this loan help cover my costs while I wait for a guaranteed sales or account receivables? So most of the time we call them bridge loans, where you may need some money temporarily just so you can wait for a purchase order to go through or for somebody else to pay you back. So you just got to make sure, once again, it just falls under the umbrella of making sure if it's the right time to take out a business loan. And then payment amount. Can I afford the monthly payments or other repayment terms? So most of the time, small business owners, they are dealing with multiple positions out where they are borrowing from this one institution, possibly borrowing from others. You have to take that all into account before you decide to take on more debt, which is, a business loan. Can I make the interest-only payments until the business returns to normal is something that's important as well. Is the loan a deferment or a grace period that will help with my cash flow? So some financial institutions, I'm just thinking of one at the top of my mind, Hebrew Free Loan Society. They're really great. They have a 0% interest rate, 0% management fee. They go from $30,000 to $60,000. And they lend out to pre-startups, people that never ran a business before. And they're really great because they don't harp on cash flow of the business. They really just harp on, the credibility of the individual, the business owner. But one thing that's really great about their product as well is they have a grace period. So, typically the loan is stretched out to 36 months. Once you receive that loan with Hebrew Free Loan Society, they give you a 3-month grace period. So you don't have to make any payments to pay back that loan for 3 months. So that allows that money to actually generate and bring some cash flow for your business. So when those 3 months are up, you can actually start making those monthly payments until the term is completely paid off. So those are one of the financial institutions that we work with that, once again, many people don't know about Hebrew Free Loan Society because they're not, on the street like a TD or Bank of America, but they are, in favor of helping small businesses. They literally, have a budget for small businesses in New York City. And then the cost. Can I afford the interest expense? Remember, the longer the term, the smaller your monthly payments will be. So as you know, everyone possibly here has had a mortgage or, some type of payment term where they understand, the longer it's stretched out, the cheaper it is, but that interest will continue to accumulate. The shorter the term is, the larger the payments are as well. And then the timing. How long would it take for me to get this loan? Typically, on average, once you submit a successful application and you begin the underwriting stages of a loan, it typically takes around 4 to 6 weeks. Some a little quicker, but you have to take that in mind when determining when to apply for a loan. If I'm applying for this loan, will I receive this money in time for me to, cover whatever I'm using this money for? So that's something to take in mind as well. And then the terms. Has the lender fully communicated with the terms of the loan? So please be aware of the terms. How long the terms stretch out to, how much you're going to be paying on your monthly, and things of that nature. Steps before applying is reviewing your business expenses, credit, and your current debt. Understanding your business finances is very important. The risk, determine the eligibility to see if you are eligible to even apply for this loan type. is one of the important things. Two is to determine how much to apply for. So to calculate your request amount. So understanding, hey, if I need a purchase order for this camera that's recording me, I need to know exactly how much that camera costs and how much it's going to cost me, to pay back as well. And then understanding what documents are needed to submit. So traditionally, a lot of these applications are going to ask for tax returns for personal and business. They're also going to, ask for financial projection sheets, business plan. Those are most of the important documents when you're in that pre-startup stage, where you're asking for someone for money, but you're not really. You have to show proof that you know what you're going to be able to do with the money once you receive it. And then what to consider when deciding for your loan amount. So understanding the minimum and maximum loan amounts your lender allows. So for instance, pre-startup, I do work in the cannabis industry. The cannabis service line is my main service line. So right now, for an example, we have the Cannabis Loan Fund. And if anyone is familiar in the cannabis industry, it is not approved on the federal level right now. So a lot of these dispensaries that you see out on the street are struggling with banking. They can't establish a traditional bank account because it's still illegal. So they have to maneuver and find different financial institutions that will either establish a banking relationship with them. And then we have, access to capital. So not only are they struggling with creating just a regular banking relationships, but now they need, a business loan. That's pretty hard to get. A lot of these banks won't fund them because it's not approved on a federal level. So we have a cannabis loan fund right now that is sponsored by the city and Tutara, a finance institution. And they are giving out up to $500,000 to these dispensaries. But for the pre-startups, the max is $100,000. So a lot of these, so just to understand exactly what the lending amount is for minimum, maximum, that goes with a lot of financial institutions. They may lend a larger amount to people that are already operating that can show proof that they know how to, create transactions and have, cash flow. So you have to be aware of exactly what institutions to apply for when you are in that startup or pre-startup stage. And then loan purpose is very important. Understanding why you're using this loan and what do you need it for, such as, purchase order, new equipment, maintaining staff levels, or just, strictly working capital, put it into marketing and things of that nature. And then always calculate your monthly payments before agreeing to a term, to a loan. So that's the most important thing, is the understanding, if I take on this debt, how much do I have to pay these guys monthly, and if I can afford it. And then many lenders require personal guarantees. So most of the time, like Hebrew, they do highlight where they are going to ask you to have a guarantor or guarantee, a co-signer basically, which is, you can be a family member. Sometimes it can be, your partner, your loved one, or anyone that truly believes in your business. So, that's one thing that a lot of people may ask for when it comes to applying for loans. And then calculating your loan repayment. So we have an example here. If you're borrowing $50,000 at a 5% interest rate on a 5-year term, you have a monthly payment of approximately $945. You'll have you have to pay approximately $6,600 in interest over the 5 years as well. So this is what we have here on the platform, the NYC's Funds Finder platform, when you can actually punch in these numbers and know exactly what you're expected to pay on the monthly. And then we highlight here is the financial documents. So these are the most important things you're going to need to submit on a majority of the loan applications. It's going to be at least a 1 to 3 year of your most recent federal taxes from a business and personal. Most of the time you may not have business yet because you're in that pre-startup stage. So they're really going to go deep dive into your personal income statements. So basically your bank statements on the monthly, they may ask for 12, 6 months depending on the lender. And then they're going to ask for a profit and loss statement sheet. So every business owner, anybody that has ran a business before, that is one of the documents that are very important. It shows you exactly your profit and loss statement, things that you have made profit from your business, is things that has actually cost you in money as well in your business, and on your balance sheet. A credit score and your credit history is very important. Your credit history shows your credit worthiness for a financial institution. So they're going to want to see how you did in the past with other people that you may borrow from, which can be, your credit card payments most likely, how well you do on your car note, and things of that nature. And then debt schedule. They want to see from everyone that you owe, from credit cards to your mortgage to other positions that you may have. They want to know the debt schedule, when you have to pay those guys back. Because as you know, if you're lending out to one of your family members, you want to know when you get paid, if everything else collapses. So that's how these financial institutions work as well. And then on the business side, if you are operating, they're going to want to see proof of that. They're going to want to see the articles of incorporation, the bylaws, the operation copies, copies of the owner's driver's license. They're going to want to see the lease agreement, if you own the building, and things of that nature. They're going to deep dive into every aspect of your finances to make sure that they're going to get their money back, in all honesty. And this is just what lenders consider when the loan approval. So they're going to review your credit. They're going to review your character. So they're going to, deep dive into your character and see exactly what type of person you are. They're going to look at the cash flow of the business if you are operating. They're going to look at the capital that you're requesting. And then they're going to actually look at the collateral. Now, of course, if you have some assets, that is labeled collateral. So your home, if you own your home, that can go up as collateral. If you own your car, that can be collateral as well. So most of the time, some of these lenders, not many that we work with, they may require some collateral when lending out to someone that has never ran a business before. Just to guarantee that, hey, if they don't pay this back, we know this car is equivalent to what we're lending out to them. And then we talk about our grant programs. So, well, I guess we are not talking about the grant programs, but we're talking about other available loans as well, which is contract financing, which is one of our popular financing products. So, for instance, we highlighted the MWBE, or city contracts. If you guys were to receive a city contract, we'll be able to fund up to $1 million for you at a 3% interest rate for you to be able to fulfill whatever that contract is obligated for you to do. So most of the time, a lot of people that are in the construction business that receives contracts from the city, and as any government, it takes forever to pay out. Most of the time, they need some type of working capital to actually get the job done, which is maybe rebuild a sidewalk or redo a street. If you show proof of that contract, you can be possibly eligible up to $1 million at a 3% interest rate. And it will go, your payments will be aligned with when the city pays you back as well. So it's never really that you're paying out of pocket. It's really waiting for you to, actually like a bridge loan, for you to have that money. And, when the city pays you, the loan will also be paid back as well. And then the NYC New York City Future Fund, which is really great. This is something that's the mayor has been promoting since he, has gotten office. This is something that is financing businesses that adapt during seasonal changes. So if you're a seasonal business, such as, if your business is really doing well in the summertime, like an ice cream business, and then you have, down times like in the winter, we will provide capital for you at a 9% annual interest rate. It says that you have to be generating at least $300,000 in your prior revenue year. That is completely false. It has changed to $50,000 a year. So if you are operating, this is one of the loans that are really great right now, that you have a 3% funds fee. So once you receive the money, you'll get taxed at 3%, and then you'll have that 9% annual interest. That 3% is a one-time charge. That's when the money's distributed in your account. And then we have the federal level of financing. You have the SBA loans, where you can, if you guys are familiar with, putting 10% down, and the government will finance the rest for you to take over a business or establish your own business. Those loans typically take very long. With the government, they deep dive even more than some of these community banks, as you guys know. So those are definitely, I wouldn't say challenging to get, but I would say, you just have to be a little patient when you go into applying for those, because they take extremely long. And then community development financial institution, those are the CDFIs that I was talking about. Those are your community banks. Those are the ones that actually have budgets, that actually have a budget that they put in to finance small businesses in the community. And then I'm going to just talk about, QuickBooks. That's something that you can always bring in. This is something like an AI software that allows you to, input numbers for your business, and it collects, documentation for taxes. It's one of those AI softwares that helps you keep your finances in order as far as the numbers. And then the NYC Funds Finder platform. I know I'm running here short on time, so I'm trying to get through. This is great. This is the platform that shows you not only the grants, but the financial lenders that we have on the city level. So you can scan this QR code. We may zoom it in. If you can, I'll leave it up here for you guys. Perfect here. And it's also great as well. We have another, oh, I'm sorry, are you scanning it? Yeah. But this platform is really great. It also had a pilot program called My Business Finance Coach, where you speak to live financial advisors, CPA advisors. They help you establishing, business plans, financial projection sheets, all for free. So, where you go to third parties, those are cost thousands of dollars to get that type of advisory. So this is really great here. My Business Finance Coach, and that's on the NYC's Future Fund. So that QR code that I had here, that's how you access that. And you'll see that Hebrew Free Loan Society that I talked about. You'll see a lot of 0% interest loans. You'll see grants. It's a $5,000 grant that's available from Neighborhood Citizens Grant right now. And I'm going to give the mic. Oh, okay, you have a question there?
Your business has to be registered in New York State, is that in order to qualify for these loans?
Not all the loans. We're only allowed to work with businesses in the New York State territories, yes. But these loans, these finance institutions are not all for just New York City businesses.
Hebrew what?
Hebrew Free Loan Society.
Okay.
You talked about the community bank, or the community, not the community bank, but communities and the banks in the communities.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who they give out loans to, or whatever the program is?
Um,
Because I know Sufton Boulevard has a lot of banks.
yes,
Okay, so let's talk about that.
yeah, so I'm thinking of one from, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Renaissance Bank. They're really great for startups, pre-startups. Citizens Bank is a really great bank as well that we partner with. Valley Bank, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Valley Bank. Those are really great banks. Pursuit Funding, they're a bank institution, CDFIs, that help with pre-startups. It's a lot of banks I want to think of. I'm thinking of another one that's not located in New York, but we work really close with them. Kiva, Kiva. They're based out in San Francisco. I just helped a lady receive about $15,000 as a pre-startup. That's a crowdfunding platform, so it's kind of similar to GoFundMe, except you're not asking, people on the internet. They have their own organization that will read your story, and they will lend out to the dollar amount that Kiva has set for you, and that's at a 0% interest rate. So you're only paying the principal of what you borrowed, which is really great. You don't have to deal with any interest. Yeah, that's Kiva, so Kiva.
You didn't mention much about grants.
Yes. So grants is very challenging. That's why I was harping on the NYC's Future Fund platform. Not Future Fund, NYC's Funds Finder platform, because those are where you're going to see all those grants. They have on the bar up the top, it's going to switch from loans to grants, and you're going to be able to see all the city grants. But once again, they vary. Like right now, it's a lot of grants for like people that are in the technology space, or it's like an export grant. So if you're exporting goods out of the country, those grants. Now they do have, grants for other ones like the NYC Citizens grants available right now. but it's only up to $5,000, which is great. You know, free money. I'll take $5,000 right now. But you know, those are really challenging to get to work. I mean, $5,000 can help you with like registering the business and establishing an LLC, which would be great. But you have to already have that in place to apply. So those are the things where you just have to be very strategic on how you use that $5,000. You know, but you have to do your own homework. There's grants out on there as well, nationwide.
You mentioned a 3-month loan that they graced you with 3 months, the first 3 months without payment. Do you have to pay interest on those 3 months?
No, that's what's great about Hebrew Free Loan Society. They don't charge any interest in the complete term of those 36 months. So the term stretch out to 36 months. The catch with the Hebrew Free Loan Society, because you know everyone, it sounds so great, is the guarantors. That's what they harp on. They harp on having a co-signer for that loan. You know, and that co-signer has to meet certain criteria. They have to be employed. They must have a credit score of above 650, and they cannot live in the same household as you. So those are the 3 most important things. If you have someone that's willing to co-sign, then you qualify for $30,000. And if you have 2 people that's willing to co-sign, you qualify for $60,000.
Can they be retired?
Yes. Yes, that's a great question. I'm sorry. Yes, they can be retired. Correct. Once again, thank you guys for having me. And I'll be in the corner here for a little while if you guys want to connect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Of course. Thank you. That was interesting. I talked about streams of income. It's important to have streams of income. If you think of anything that you want to do, think about forming it into a business to help you to have more play money to play with, or to help with your household items that you might have that you can't really afford, or you're falling back on this. If you have an extra stream of income, it helps a lot. Now, I have a business, and I've been in business for over 20 years, and AI is really taken off. It's taken off. And I was at an event, and there was this one woman that introduced AI for business, and what she did, she took a picture of my jewelry that I sell, and she put it on herself, on her phone. And I said, how did you do that? She said, this is AI for business. I said, what? This is how people can tell whether or not a jewelry set that you're selling will look nice on them, because all of my pieces are created and they're all one-of-a-kind pieces. So that's something that I want to learn more about. And Tony is going to talk about AI for busy entrepreneurs. But just let me give you a little bio on her, because she's like on point, girl. Tony Coleman Brown is the founder of the Network for Women in Business and owner of the software Optimize Pro. She is also an author and coach, and has helped and trained thousands of entrepreneurs over the past 20 years. She's a graduate of Howard University and the City College of New York, and she's a proud member of NCNW Queens Council section. Tony Coleman Brown.
I don't hear y'all. You got to be a little bit more louder than that. I have a big mouth. I tell you that. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm extremely excited to deliver this presentation. It has a lot of information, and basically, I don't know that I'm going to go through everything, but I'm going to try to get through as much as possible. And I'm always available if you have any questions, okay? So let's get into it. What we're going to cover today is why AI is entrepreneurs' secret weapon. We're also going to talk about the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. And we're also going to talk a little bit about vibe coding, which is fun. We're going to talk about the difference between Claude and ChatGPT. And we're going to talk about AI for marketing and so much more. But before I go any further, if you're interested in any of my trainings or getting on my list, you can use that QR code right there and sign up. And you will be introduced to what I like to call TCB land. All right? I'll show it again at the end as well. So why AI is the entrepreneur's secret weapon? First, I want to talk to you about a reality check. And the reality is that 65 to 80% of Americans are not really using AI for work, right? So you hear a lot of people talking about how AI is a big disruptor. AI is going to get rid of a lot of jobs. And that is true. But at the end of the day, right now, 65 to 80% of people go to work and they don't use AI. And there are certain industries like journalists, they're not allowed to use AI at all. And that's because everything that they report must be based in facts. We have to tell that to Fox News. But anyway, the other interesting fact is that 99% of Americans do use AI. And most of us are not even aware that we're using it. And the early generation of AI was Alexa, right? Or your GPS. And when we go on social media and the algorithms show us things like, you know how when you go like maybe to Chase Bank and then you go to Facebook or Instagram and an ad for Chase Bank shows up and you're wondering what's going on? That's AI in the background with the algorithm showing you things from other websites that you visited. So a lot of people are using AI every day and absolutely do not know it. And then there's 35 to 40% of adults that use at least one tool every week. And for most people, that's probably ChatGPT. Because let's face it, ChatGPT is fun. I mean, we just saw today that Alicia took come on, I can't think of, Beverly, that's right. Alicia took Beverly's picture. Because Beverly said, I want to know what I would look like with gray hair. So she took her picture, loaded up to ChatGPT, and said, can you make her hair gray? So she got and she has the picture to show it, right? And she got to see what she would look like with gray hair. So that's a fun way of using AI. And a lot of us use AI to build flyers for our events. We just give it a prompt. And it's able to generate a flyer. I looked at the community day flyer and I said, you used AI, didn't you? And they were like, yes, because you weren't available. And I just had to laugh. So entrepreneurs have a big problem with time, right? Most of us don't have a lot of time, especially when you're someone who's been a side hustler like me, someone with a 9 to 5, but then would come home and work again from 5 to 9. But for me, it was more like 7 to 1, you know, so like, you know, going to bed late and all of that stuff. But now AI has come about and allows you to save a lot of time because it can do things like write an email or create content. If you want a blog post created, it can do that. If you need an email created, it can do that. If you need a newsletter created, it can do that. It can even source other news for you to prepare a newsletter. So there's so many things that it can do that it can, you know, clone your voice. It can clone your writing style so that you can save time. It can clone your image so that you can now have videos of yourself. You know how a lot of people are like, I don't like the way I look in front of the camera. I don't want to get in front of the camera. Where you put your picture into ChatGPT, and then you can use another software tool and record and clone your voice, and then you can take that nice picture where ChatGPT has you looking very nice and made up, and you can create videos, and you can just mash up the scripts with the voice and the picture, and it'll create a talking head video, saving you a lot of time. You don't have to now get made up. You don't have to take 30 takes, right? You could be a one-take wonder with AI. And then you can schedule it all, and it can go out to social media, saving you a ton of time and a ton of money, right? Because now you don't have to go to a big production studio. You can do it all right from your laptop. Now, how many people could get excited about that? Raise your hand if you could get excited about that. Yes, I am very, very, very excited about that. I'm also excited about the fact that, you know, when we get into this conversation about agentic AI versus generative AI, you'll see that the next level is creating AI agents that can actually do all of this for you. So it's really good. So I got some good stuff in here. We're going to get to it. So I'm going to go through really quickly because without AI, it would take us hours to do a lot of these things. Hours to write a blog post, hours to write an email. Well, maybe not hours, but at least maybe 20, 30 minutes, right? And a lot of this stuff now can be done in seconds. And it's absolutely amazing. I think that this is one of the greatest times to be alive. Someone once said that they believe that in their lifetime, they will see their first solopreneur, meaning a one-person show that will become a billionaire because of AI. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So things that used to take to sum up this slide, things that used to take you a long time no longer takes you a long time when you use AI. So let's get into the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. So basically, when you think about generative AI, think about tools like ChatGPT. And basically what this means is that you'll give it a prompt and it'll generate a response. So that's why they call it generative AI. So you tell it something and then it'll generate something, right? So agentic AI is, the difference is it's like Claude. Claude is an agentic AI. And why it's that way is because it can actually perform tasks. And that's very different from giving a tool a prompt and then it generates a response. You tell it what you want it to do, and it has the capability to do it. So what I mean by this is that in my software tool, it's infused with AI. I can tell it to write an email for me and schedule it to go. And that's very different than writing the email, then I have to go put it in another tool, schedule it to go, right? So I have, about a few other steps after I give it the prompt. But with an agentic AI, you tell it what to do, and it will do it. So that's the difference between a ChatGPT and a Claude. Claude can literally perform functions. And that's next level. Also, agentic AI is where you can create agents, AI agents. You guys have heard of AI agents. Many of you today, maybe you've called your insurance company lately, and an AI agent answered the phone. And I have to say, I called 2 insurance companies recently, and one had humans, and one had an AI agent. And I must tell you, the AI agent was better than the human. Wow. It really was. And what's really cool about agents is that, especially if you have like a sales agent or, they have the ability now not just to answer the phone, but they have the ability to make the call. And that's next level. And with the tool that I have, like Optimize Pro, that's infused with AI, that has AI agents, you can train it to, if someone signs up to your mailing list, it can call the person and say, hey, I noticed that you signed up. Would you like to get on the phone with Tony? And she can help you, go a little bit further. And then you can connect that agent with your calendar, and it has all of your available times. And it can say, okay, which date and time is good for you? Monday at 10 or Tuesday at 9. And it can schedule it all for you. That's next level. And that's the difference between generative AI and agenic AI. So we're going into a different phase of AI that most people aren't prepared for. And that's one of the reasons why when Claude launched its latest release, it had to let the federal government know how powerful it was, because it's absolutely scary. It still doesn't get everything 110% right. I still do believe that there needs to be critical thinking behind it, because everything that it puts out is not always right. It's not. So you have to have someone with knowledge to be able to go back in and say, yeah, no, that's not right. You got to go back. And what's crazy is oftentimes, if you've ever put together something, even with a generative AI response, and you said, no, that's not right, it'll come back and say, you know what, you're right. You're right. You're right. I should go in another direction. And then there's vibe coding. And vibe coding is like, it's next level. And what that means is somebody like, so this is a picture inside of my software tool, right? And what I did was I had a client that basically said, you know, I want to do a makeup workshop, a master class. I said, great, I'll create a website for you. So what I did was I went into the vibe coding section and I created a prompt. And I said, I would like you to build a sales page for a makeup master class for the client. The price is $75 and da-da-da-da-da. And then it generated this website. Yeah. And so basically what I would like to do, does anybody in the room want a website built? Seriously, would you like a website? I'm serious. You would like a website built? Seriously, I'm serious. So what I would like to do right now is show you what this looks like. Would you like to see that? Because vibe coding, what it does is it actually allows you in plain English, right, to give a prompt to the site, and the site will, let me go into an account that doesn't have anything on here. And the site, what it will do is you give it a plain English prompt, and what will happen is, so this is the vibe coding section of my site, my software tool, right? And you can see I've already created some landing pages using vibe coding. And what vibe coding means is, in plain English, whether you write it or speak it, you just say what you want and it creates it. Somebody give me a prompt. I'm serious. Anybody, tell me anything. To make a website? Yeah. A website for my Airbnb. Okay. So she says she wants me to, just, you know, you're going to be, is it an Airbnb that you already have? Okay, all right. And where is it located? Okay, all right. Here we go. Can you please create a website for my Airbnb that is located in the Poconos? We're just going to leave it. I'm not even going to put a lot. I'm just going to say that. Let's see what it does. So I'm not going to even give it any color scheme, no nothing. I'm just going to say just something real simple. So you see now that what it's doing, right? So it says here, how would you like to structure your Poconos Airbnb website? I'm going to say a single landing page. That's okay? Proceed. All right, no colors, no nothing, and I don't want it to do a full website because I don't want it to take all day. It's generally pretty quick, right? And so what it's going to do is going to think about what it should do, and what is it saying? It's creating the page, setting up the system design for your Poconos theme, is generating some cabin images, is building a hero section and an about section, It's building the amenities in a gallery. It doesn't know, but you could, you could change it. You could tell it, okay, here are the photos that I want you to use. Change this, change that. And it's going to do it for you, right? So it's just going through all of those prompts. And what that is vibe coding. So this is what I'm going to do. While it's doing that, I'm going to go back to my presentation and we're going to come back. How about that? All right? When it's ready, because usually when it's ready, it makes a little dinging sound. All right? But that's vibe coding. Is that amazing? Listen, I have a client that wants me to build a website. I haven't even started on it. I told him I'm going to have it ready for you tomorrow. And I know I'm going to have it ready for him tomorrow because guess what? I'm going to prompt it. I go to events, tabling events, and I meet entrepreneurs, and I said, do you have a website? And they're like, no. I was like, well, what's your business? And I was like, oh, okay. So, and I said, okay, I'm putting a prompt, and I build websites right at events, right on the spot, and people get excited. And so when we talk about multiple streams of income, the possibilities are endless, endless. They really are. So I tell you, listen, I'm super excited. So Claude, like I said, versus ChatGPT, Claude can perform tasks. Oh, y'all heard the sound? Let's take a look. That was fast, right? I couldn't even hardly get through the presentation. Let's see. Look what it did. Let me publish it so you can see it. Let's do this. Let me just go to preview so we can see it big. Is it popping out? It doesn't want to. Here we go. All right. Your perfect mountain escape. Unwind in a modern A-frame cabin, right? See the gallery. Look at the sanctuary and the pine. This is pretty. And it gives all of the amenities, and you could change. Look at that. See, now, if I would have just told y'all and I didn't show y'all, y'all wouldn't believe me. See? This is show and tell. It works. It works. But imagine the possibilities if someone wants to, have extra income and just building websites. Okay, Harry Wells, I know a lot of your small businesses don't have websites, right? I could go sit at York SBDC and help them build out their websites for them using this tool, right? There are a lot of businesses. And then okay, let me just keep going. Because I could get off on the side streets when I'm doing my presentations, and I'll be here all day. But like I said before, Claude performs tasks. ChatGPT, you generally give a prompt and it generates a response, all right? So, Claude for presentations. So guess what, guys? The beautiful presentation, a lot of the slides came from Claude. Do you guys see that over there? I went over into Claude and I asked Claude to create a presentation for me called AI for Busy Entrepreneurs. And it created the whole presentation, all the slides. I said, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, but I like the design. And it actually gave it to me as a PowerPoint presentation. And I was able to take that presentation and upload it into Canva, which is what I like and where all my other slides are, and then mash up my other presentations together. And something that would have taken me months or weeks to put together, I literally started working on a presentation maybe on Thursday night. So Claude is amazing. It performs tasks. So this was really kind of like give it a prompt, it generated a response. But let me show you the difference between ChatGPT and Claude. You see how if you look over to the right in this area over here, you see you can add Claude inside of PowerPoint. So you can actually prompt and have it build your PowerPoint presentations inside of the tool, right? So, if you went to Claude and you had it connected with PowerPoint, you can create the slide. Then you can say, with other API integrations, you can say, oh, can you send it to this person? And you can connect it to your Gmail. And it'll do all of the functions for you. And that's the difference. You can't do all of those API integrations with different tools. So you can connect Claude to all your multiple tools and say, do this over here, then send it over there, then email it over there, and it will do it. ChatGPT does not do that. And guess what? Claude integrates with PowerPoint and Excel and Word. All you have to do is go to the home page, go to this little area right here where it says add-on in both PowerPoint and Word, and you can add it right inside of the software tool. Now, listen. Right before we had this event, Monica sent me all her email addresses. And you know how we have sign-in sheets outside? And a lot of the vendors, y'all have sign-in sheets. I took the pictures of the sign-in sheets, and I uploaded them into Claude. And I said, can you create like an Excel of this so I could like easily manipulate it? Because I was just like, now, Monica, I ain't about to sit down and type all these emails into no Excel spreadsheet. She gave me about 3 different sets, maybe 4 different sets. It was 4 different sets of emails. And what Claude did was, it said, oh yeah, I can see the images. It took all of those sign-in sheets and created one Excel spreadsheet, but put each of them in separate tabs. So from this event to this event to this event. Now tell me that one doesn't save you time. So the handwritten sign-in sheets. Okay, Mr. Dawes, I saw a lot of people that signed up on your sign-in sheet. Go upload it into Claude and let Claude create an Excel, database, and you could just put it wherever you need to put it, or just if you need to email people, you could copy and paste it into Gmail and just make it happen. It's free. Yeah. It's free. It's free, but if you want like premium tokens, it's like $20 a month. Yes. Hold on, let me come to you. Let me be like Oprah.
So what I understand, that there's a lot of subsidizing going on with AI. What happens when that runs out? Is all of this stuff going to be out of reach?
So when you say subsidizing, what do you mean?
From what I understand, the government is subsidizing the research and all of the, the background platform for these, because I think they have like quite a few different AI companies that are popping up. And so now I've heard some whispers of, look, what happens when the subsidizing? So I don't know. That's fine.
Well, this is what I know for certain. You pay for the premium features. So I don't think that the government is subsidizing everything because the individuals are paying the monthly subscription fees to get the tokens. So if you use a lot of tokens, then you have to go up in your monthly subscription fees. So I don't think that for a lot of these, maybe for the government companies, so I would have to do some more research into that. But yeah, so when you pay, you get like the more premium features, you get more usage and things like that. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about AI for marketing. Go ahead, Monica.
One quick thing. How many names did you get? How many names did you get?
It was almost 500. Yeah, it was almost 500. Yeah, and it's so nice. It's so nice and neatly packaged. But what I love is, and with vibe coding, what I just showed you just now, you not only can create websites, but you can build apps. So if you have an idea for an app, then you can build it, and then other people can use it, and you can charge fees, and you could load it up in the App Store and all of that stuff. So with vibe coding and your ability to just speak it, because with all of them, you notice that they have, where you could chat, but each of the little chat boxes have a little microphone. If you click the microphone, you could just talk. Question?
Are there more like started for someone that is, just starting out?
What's really great, this is a great question. She asked, are there online tutorials? Claude has a free certification. I'm going through it right now. Free certification. You could just Google it, free Claude certification, and it tells you everything. Everything you need to know. Because the thing about Claude is you can build skills. They call it skills. So like if you have a bunch of things that you wanted to perform, you can save those directions. And then if you want it to do it over and over again, it'll just reach back on your directions. And I'm just using simple language so that it'll reach back to that skill and perform the task. Yeah. So imagine the possibilities, and that's included inside of, my software, Optimize Pro, but what it kind of replaces is Lovable. Lovable is another vibe coding software tool where you can just give it a prompt and it'll create what you need. So everybody knows that everybody has to market and promote their business. So you
Hey,
definitely
everybody,
should be
Tony-
marketing and promoting yours. So let me go
Hey,
back.
everybody,
I
Tony
just want
Coleman-
to turn this off, but every
Hey,
time I try
everybody,
to turn
Tony
it off,
Coleman Brown here.
I just wanted to
Well,
stop. Here we go. All right. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to run an ad on Facebook. I wanted it to do something cute when I was having my small business boot camp for women. So what I did was I took a picture of myself and I said, I went into ChatGPT. I said, could you please create a Pixar-like character of myself? You could take that, Alicia, you could take that same picture and you could go and say, can you please create a Pixar-like image of Beverly and see what it generates? And then what I did was I took some recordings of my voice and I put it into 11 Labs. And I said, okay, here's the script. And it went from text to speech and gave me an MP3 file, right? So I took the MP3 file, I took the picture from ChatGPT, I went into another tool called Hedera, and there's a bunch of tools. There's a bunch of tools that you could use. They're all doing the same thing right now, right? And even like right now, I don't even have to use ChatGPT or Hedera anymore because 11 Labs does it as well. You can take an image and you can take the voice and you could put it together and it'll create a video. So basically what I did was I wanted something, that was a little bit cute and I wanted to tell people to come to the boot camp. So this is what it
to
created.
you about why you should be at the 2025 Small Business Boot Camp for Women. Well, first of all, do you like this video of me? It's dope, right? Well, let me tell you, I'm going to be teaching you how to use AI tools and automation to create content just like this. Content that doesn't take a lot of time, but certainly leaves a powerful impact.
All right, I'm not going to go into all of that. But you can see exactly what you can do. And then also with ChatGPT, they have images and they have these little plushies. And, one of the things I was doing my 3-day AI challenge and I created the little plushie, if you want different things to market and promote. Now, a lot of people that are creating their AI clone and they're using it online, I have to tell you that a lot of business owners are saying, I haven't done it yet, but they're saying that their AI clone ads perform better than their ads as them, which is very interesting. But this is something that you can do as well, and ChatGPT has a lot of different cute things that you can do. But while this is the fun stuff, that's not the thing that's going to get you paid. The thing that's going to get you paid is a lot of the images and stuff and the marketing content that you put together that really drives home your product or your service. That's what's going to get you paid. A lot of people are using this stuff and having fun, but it's what you do with it after that that's going to be the difference in whether you have a tremendous amount of success and generate income or you just generate content and have fun, right? So
Don't
this is
forget to
another
sign up
one.
for the
This is another one I did. I had fun. I created another image in ChatGPT and I mashed it up. and, did another video. So these are some of the types of things that
First,
you
you
can
want to head
do.
over to ChatGPT.
And so
And
basically,
you wanna-
this is just a step-by-step tutorial of me showing you how you just upload your image. And I'm not going to play the whole video because I don't have a lot of time.
Give you
and you
something
give it
like
a
this.
prompt.
And then what you're gonna wanna do
this
is
what
download it
happens,
onto
right?
your
So I just
computer.
kind of explained the whole process to you already. But if you want this presentation, you could definitely sign up to the mailing list and I'll send it to you with all of the videos and everything inside. That's good? Sounds good? Y'all still with me? Good stuff? All right.
So in this video,
So
I'm going to show you
in
how
this
to
video, what I did was I showed you how you can, and I have this video actually on my YouTube channel. So I show you how you can create like 100 reels really fast. And basically you just kind of, especially if you're doing quotes, like video quotes, and those tend to do really well. So this is an example of just having ChatGPT create the quotes, then you just format it correctly in a Google Drive, on a Google Doc, and then what happens after that is you upload it onto Canva, you create the reel, and then it takes all of the quotes and it just bulk creates reels in like 5 minutes. And then you'll have them there and you can just schedule them over a period of time. So let me just, like take a step back for a minute and say this. All of this stuff is good. A lot of people look at marketing and they get very overwhelmed. And they think that, oh, this is too much work. I can't do this, da-da-da-da-da. But what you should know is that if you get a few pieces of good content, don't feel like you constantly have to recreate the wheel. Most people that have a tremendous amount of success online, believe it or not, 80% of the content and the things that they post, they've already posted it. It's a repost. So 80% of the content that they're posting is content that they've already posted. So they're not creating new content. I want to free you from the belief that people have seen your content, so you can't post that again and you have to create something new. I want to free you from that, right? Because you're going to think that every time you go to post, it has to be something new. It absolutely does not and should not be something new. Because you think that people have seen it, so you don't want to post it again. But they have not seen it. They have not seen it. Okay? How many times have you said, I didn't know that that was going on. I didn't know you had that going on. And they're like, well, I posted it, but you didn't see it. Because posts are fleeting. The feed is fast, right? It's fast. So people don't see your content as much as you think. So you need to keep posting the same thing over and over and over and over and over because they haven't seen it. Same thing. Well, what it could do with a long piece of content is clip it. There's something called Opus Clips, and there's something called VEED.io, and that's my favorite tool. Vid.io, that's one of my favorite tools. If you have a long piece of content, you could break it up into like 30 clips. And it's really smart and intuitive. And it goes into the video and it pulls out the hooks. So you know how when when you're doing a video, there's certain parts of it that's like really good, right? It's smart. It pulls out that good stuff. And then you just go through it and say, okay, that's good, that's good. And then you load it up as shorts and reels. That's it. That's it. So a lot of us, and then rinse and repeat. You know, I had one of my clients, the one you saw her website, she's an influencer, and she said, you know, for the month of December, I didn't create any videos. I took time off, and I just reposted all of my old videos, and I made $5,000. So that proves the point. Rinse and repeat. You don't have to keep creating content and burn yourself out. If you have something that's good, just put it up again. Because people haven't seen it. They really haven't. They haven't. Because the feed is fast and it's easy to miss stuff. And how many, we know we're not on social media every day like that. Well, you know, most of us, but not like that. Not anymore. Most of us are burnt out. We have fatigue. We go, we look a little bit, then it's just like, oh, I'm tired, right? So you have to keep putting it out there. And I mean, and also too, you know, people have to see things about 11 times before they move, right? I've had people that have watched me for years. So like I would have my boot camp, I think I've had about 13 or 14 or 15 boot camps. So like every year. And I'll have people, oh, I've been watching you for the past 5 years and I just decided to come. But what if I stopped, right? What if I stopped? Then, you know, I never would have had the opportunity to influence her, right? So a lot of times you just have to keep going, keep putting it out there, and people have to see you. There's something called, I think it's 7-11-4. People have to see you 7 or 11-7-4, something like that. People have to see you at least 11 times, maybe across 7 different platforms, and view 4 hours of your content before a lot of times they make a decision to take action, right? But hey, with the ability to just take 80% of your stuff and keep putting it out there, I say just keep going.
So-
right? So this is a hack, right?
This video.
This is the tool that I was telling you about, Valerie. It's called Hey Jen. This is the one where you could take your jewelry, you could put it on an avatar and create videos where they're demonstrating your jewelry, talking about it, and all of that stuff. So you can use that. But this is a hack. Have you ever wanted to read an article in a newspaper, and then the title caught your attention, and then when you went to go read the article, it's gated? And they say you have to pay for a subscription to see the article, right? That's happened. So how about if you take that same article, you could go to like ChatGPT or Claude, and you can say, can you summarize the Washington Post article that talked about such and such? And it'll give you the whole summary of the article without you paying for it. That's a hack. That's a hack. That's a hack, because guess what? Now I could circumvent the subscription fee and I could get the content, right? I'm telling you. And it gave me, because there was some article about, what was the article? It said, what does the Washington Post article say about the impact of Ozempic, what it does to the brain? I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let me see what that's about. And it gave me the whole summary. I said, ooh, I ain't have to pay that fee. I was happy. All right, so now we're going to get to some fun stuff, right? So, and this is going to be the last thing. So NCNW is having a black and white event, right? Yay! And I said on one of our planning calls, I said, we were struggling to try to figure out a song, and I was just like, let me try to create an original song. So what I did was, I went to Claude. I said, can you give me lyrics to a theme song for, what did I say? I said, can you help me create lyrics for a song? This song is about the National Council of Negro Women, Queens County Section. This organization is historical and has been built on the back of greatness. Great and amazing black women. I need lyrics to add to the Suno app. I am looking for a song that is like a mix of hip hop and R&B. So it gave me a song. I want to play just a little bit of it for you. Just a little bit. Madam President gave me the permission to do just a little bit.
Community first, that's the mission in our eyes. From Jamaica to St. Albans, Hollis to the South. Speaking truth for our people, put the power in our mouth. Scholarships and service to advocacy and care. Lifting as we climb, know that every sister's there. We don't just survive, we thrive, really we build. Every promise that was broken, now it's time to be fulfilled. Standing tall, never gonna fall. We answer the call, for one we answer for all. Built on the backs of the great and the brave. Black women rising, no more change, no more cage. We carry the flame. Queens County section. Say our name. Say our name.
There you go. So that, let me tell you, that is the beauty of AI. It is amazing, amazing, amazing. And you can do some amazing things with it. You know, like I said, builds AI agents. It can do so, so, so much. But I just wanted to leave you guys with that, give you another chance to sign up to the mailing list for my upcoming webinars and events. As you guys can see, I get really super stoked about technology, and I am so looking forward to what the future holds as it relates to this space, because, you know, responsible use of AI could be a really beautiful thing when you use it correctly and properly, and it can truly help you with your productivity and with your business. I'm super, super excited. I really love that song. I've been bopping to it. I'm just like, especially when they say, Queens County section, say my name, say my name. I love it, I love it, I love it. So I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to present this information. And we have about like 3 minutes if you have any questions.
Yes. How do you prevent theft?
That is a good question. And one of the things that I think that could help you prevent theft online is a couple of ways. And I mean, theft with regards to your content, or theft with regards to people getting access to your accounts and different things like that. Because for that, I would say always have two-factor authentication on your accounts. Because trust and believe, I get people trying to log into all my Apple Pay, all of that stuff all the time. And because I have, you know, like multi-factor authentication on all of my accounts, I have to provide codes. So when you get all of these apps, always do multi-factor authentication so that they have to either text you or send an email with a code so you can get in. And if people don't have access to your phone, then they won't have access to your account. Any other questions? Statement?
I'm from York College, SBDC. Tony has done workshops for us, and they've been dynamic, some of the most dynamic workshops I've ever participated in. So you should definitely hook up with her. The old man here, I went and got my A. I'm Google AI certified facilitator.
All right, all right.
My grandsons live with me. He runs. If I don't understand, I just go to him. Show Grandpa how to do this. So these young kids are really amazing.
Hey, old people too. Old people be doing things, okay? I'm 60 years old. Old people be doing things.
One more question.
Yeah, I am.
How did you generate the voices for the song?
The app actually did it. I told it what I was looking for, and it actually did it. You know, I said like a mix between like a Anita Baker and a Mary J. Blige. Yeah. Yep. It's the apps are very smart. Any other questions? Well, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
Tony, we have to give you another round of applause because that was simply awesome, awesome, awesome. But I'll tell you this, I love Instagram, and now that I see the reels And they're just little snippets. Now I understand. Now I understand how they do it. And I do see, well, not ads, but reels over and over and over again. And let me tell you, I look and I say, oh, I don't know. But they keep repeating it over and over again. And after 10 repeats, I bought. So I clearly understand. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. I tell you. Tony, that was excellent. Excellent, excellent. Now, I'd like to bring up Michelle Gillespie. She's part of New Greater Bethel Ministries, and she's a real estate investor. And she's talking about her bed and breakfasts. Yeah, but I just want to talk while you get set up and everything. But that's a stream of income that she has. So she's going to share how to invest in real estate and how you can develop that into being a stream of income. So as soon as you're ready, I'll stop talking. And I've been knowing her forever in my church, and I never knew that she was into this, you know? But you learn so much when you talk to people. You ready?
Oh.
But Tony, that was amazing. That was amazing. I mean, I'm ready to do something with my jewelry. Just like I told you that woman came to my table and she says, I love your jewelry. I'm going to try all your pieces on. So I thought that she was actually going to put them. She said, oh, no. I'm just going to put me in and I'm going to take a picture of your jewelry and I'm going to put it on myself. And she showed me a picture of every piece that she tried on. And she bought 5 pieces. And my pieces are very, very expensive. I went, yes. So that's what I need to do. I need to start generating something like that and have people come to me. Well, would you like to see what this looks like on you? Put it in my computer, laptop, whatever. I said, this is how it's going to look on you. You want to see it on me? That's how it looks on me. Amazing. You ready? Michelle Gillespie.
Thank you. Oh, my heart is beating. Giving honor to Jesus Christ, who is my Lord and Savior, and from whom all my blessings flow. Thank you so much for the organization for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some information that can hopefully help you along real estate journey. So I came to know about the wealth gap for African Americans recently because of the disparity there is between net worth for African Americans and versus Caucasian. And so I have a really short video that I'd like you to see.
Dig deep into America's $17 trillion economy, and you'll find fractures beneath the surface. The spoils are split unevenly between men and women, old and young, high school dropouts, and MBAs. But one of the most divisive disparities is only skin deep. This is the economy in black and white. Everything you own, houses, stocks, cars, that's your wealth. In 2011, the wealth of the median white household was over $110,000. African Americans on average, 17 times less, just over $6,000. And housing has a lot to do with it. For the average American, their home is the most valuable part of their portfolio. It's an investment that can appreciate with time, and it can be passed from one generation to the next. But the rate of homeownership among whites is 28% higher than that of blacks, and the lingering effects of segregation could be to blame. Discriminatory practices by the Federal Housing Authority prevented African Americans from buying houses in many suburban neighborhoods. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 sought to level the playing field. But by then, African Americans were entering a housing market that had already seen massive appreciation. Meanwhile, white families had seen their housing investment soar in value during their head start. Fast forward to the 21st century, minority groups were again victims of housing exploitation, this time by big banks. Bank of America and Wells Fargo, among others, were compelled to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and restitution for pushing minorities into exploitative subprime mortgages and charging them higher rates and fees. This contributed to the fact that Blacks and Hispanics lost nearly a quarter of their wealth between 2004 and 2010. Whites lost just 1% during that same period. So the American economy houses two realities, one Black, one white. The divide between them, a measure of inequality.
Eye-opening to me. And one of the things that I've come to find out is that from the 1960s to now, it hasn't gotten any better. Okay, so I have handed out another, because this video actually from CNN Money was in 2011. And so if you want to know what's going on now, what you have in front of you, let me put it up here. Oops, wrong way.
Dig deep into America's.
Okay, so let's look at the first one, figure 1. And this is from the Census Bureau, US Census Bureau, from 2021. What do you notice? African Americans are the blue, well, on there it's green, but on the sheet that you have in front of you, African Americans are blue, and white is the orange on the sheet you have in front of you. Anybody can say anything that they notice? This is the distribution of household net worth. Zero or negative net worth. Look at the gap between white and Black. It's eye-opening. And if we go to the next one, the next page, this tells you where the distribution, where the gap is. So if you notice where it says assets, financial institutions, the gap doesn't look too large there, right? If you look at that, I don't want you not to have one. I'll just go on this side. I can see it, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so African Americans have bank accounts, okay? So there's not much of a gap there where you see assets of financial institutions. But look further down. Vehicles, the gap gets wider. Equity in your home, which is one of the main factors of building generational wealth. Equity in your home. Our white counterparts at 70.2, whereas look at our Black counterparts, 38.6. Retirement accounts. In every different field, there's a gap. So this was eye-opening to me because I've known for many years that real estate can change the trajectory of your life, and in a number of ways. First off, we need to have home ownership. There's been lots of different incentives that have focused on getting more African Americans and minorities, Black and brown communities, to have home ownership. But we first have to know what you need to be ready to be a homeowner. So I'm just going to go over a few key pointers for you. Pay off high interest debt. That's number one. We have to have the mindset in order to be a homeowner. As we've heard earlier today, we know that some African Americans, sad to say, will go out and purchase a car, an expensive car with that, before they save or before they think about their housing. So paying off high interest debt is pivotal. Being able to stick within a budget is important. Why? Because just like we heard from Lori earlier, things happen when you own a home. You have to be able to have money saved aside. And if you stick within a budget, you'll be able to set aside somewhere in your budget for things that may come up. Building an emergency fund. A lot of these different companies now, that nonprofits and that alike, they want to see that you have money saved. Emergency funds are very important. Even as a homeowner myself, I have to have an emergency fund, and that should usually be anywhere from 3 to 6 months of your expenses. Another thing that's important is even in your emergency fund, you want to make sure that you're not just putting it in your regular savings account at the bank. Does anybody know how much your regular savings account earns in the bank institution? Exactly. I was looking at my bank account because I had some money in there that I hadn't switched over to my high yield savings, and I got 3 cents. And there was a couple thousand in there. 3 cents for the entire month. So regular savings accounts usually earn 0.01%. So your emergency, so you got to be smart, but with the money that you do have. So you want to put it in a high yield savings, and there's numerous banks. Even in my own bank that I have a savings account, they also have a high yield savings. But guess what? They don't advertise it. You have to call, speak to a representative, and then ask. Nowadays, they have a lot of different banks online. I also subscribe to a bank called CIT. And it's like an online bank, federal FDIC insured, so you don't have to worry about your money, and it's earning 4%. So if you're talking about 0.01, I minored in math, 0.01 versus 4%, that's a huge difference. So your savings that you save every month should definitely be in a high yield savings account. And then I heard someone else talking about it today, about automating their savings. I can tell you when my son was born 10 years ago, he'll be 10 on Monday, my husband and I opened up a 529 account. And that's just an account you save for college. And we didn't put much in it, and we still don't put a lot in it, but every month we put maybe $100. And now it's up to $30,000 in 10 years. When I looked at the amount that I invested in, because it can show you how much you invested versus the interest that you earned, it came out to around $14,000 over the years. So the remaining amount, $16,000, has been just interest over the years that they've given me. So putting in $100 a month, whatever you can actually afford, if you automate it where it takes the thinking out of, okay, I have to now transfer the money from my checking to my, automate it with the bank. All the banks do it. Automate your savings. Start with wherever you at, $25 every week. It builds up. And as long as you're investing it, which I'll talk about a little bit later, you'll be able to see some good growth. Because that's what we're talking about here, going from that gap that you saw in the that graph to narrowing it down so that we can really be able to build generational wealth. Disclaimer, I do have to say this. I am not a financial consultant, accountant, or licensed financial advisor. The information I provide to you today is educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered professional financial tax or accounting advice. Please don't sue me, okay? In other words, you know what kind of society we have now. But in any case, I just need to say that because, again, I am not licensed. I'm just sharing with you what I've done that has worked, okay? So, real estate strategies. I'll just give you a little background. So I became a homeowner, must be 20 years ago. And since then, I first started out in a 2-family home, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then actually moved with my husband. We purchased another home, and then we started investing in real estate. And so now we have about 8 properties. 3 of them are Airbnbs, and I have seen from when I first, now I didn't come from a family that had, a lot of money. My father did also invest in real estate, but he wasn't sharing those gems with me at the time. So, but I realized that from my first apartment, which was a co-op, I was able to purchase that for $75,000 and sold it for $125,000. I said, wait a minute. And that was in a 5-year span. I said, wait, there's something to this. And I was able to use that for my 2 family. So I've just seen over the years how my net worth has grown tremendously through investing in real estate. So here are some of the strategies that you can look for if you're interested in investing in real estate. House hacking. As I said before, my first standalone home, I first started with a co-op, but then used that to purchase my 2 family, is house hacking. It's a term that the real estate community use, and basically that just means that you purchase a home for yourself as your primary residence, but you rent out another unit in the home to help with expenses. And so I chose to do that first. I mean, I wanted to be bougie like everyone else and have my own house and, don't have to deal with anyone and not feel like I was in an apartment like the co-op I had previously. However, my son at the time, this is my oldest son, he's 32, was going to college. And so I knew that I didn't want to be stressed about paying his college tuition. And that's another thing that we want to focus on. I know, we should be able to pay for our children's college. That's my belief. We should pay for our children's college tuition if they don't get scholarships and whatever else. But it's something that you're trying to give your child a head up. Because right now, student loans that these students are graduating with are really putting them behind. So if you can give them a leg up by paying for their college, that really will help them for the future. And that's what a lot of our white counterparts are doing. They make sure their children's education is funded. So in any case, I went ahead and I purchased the 2 family, living in another, what I felt was apartment, but I knew the greater outlook was to make sure that I could pay his tuition. So for 10 years, I did that. I house hacked. And guess what? In New York, prime real estate, that their rent paid for my mortgage for 10 years. So all of that money that I would have paid on my mortgage, I was able to put towards my son's education. And he was able to graduate. He's a teacher. He's an investment owner as well right now. Okay, second thing, take advantage of first home buyer programs. So if you're looking for a home, I would definitely suggest 2 and 3 family homes and using one of the first home buyer programs that you saw today, Lori with Neighborhood Housing of Jamaica. As she talked about today, the various programs that you can use. NACA, that some of you maybe we also have workshops here with NACA. NACA is available. They have that buying down your interest rate, which is phenomenal now that the interest rates have risen so much. And there's also other nonprofits. When I first purchased my co-op, I was able to layer, just like Lori said, I was able to layer Long Island Housing Partnership, which gave me around $10,000, as well as I actually went to, not Lori, she wasn't there at the time, but I went to Neighborhood Housing over 20 years ago, and they hooked me up with another program. So I was able to use both programs to purchase my co-op. So definitely please use the first home buyer programs. And if you already have a home, and you're wondering, okay, well, how can I invest in real estate? As I said before, New York is prime real estate. It's dramatically risen over the years. And so maybe the 5 boroughs, Long Island and Suffolk County may be a bit of a stretch. And I've heard so many people tell me that they can't find an affordable home in New York. Think about out of state. All of my homes, after I sold my 2 family, all of my homes are out of state. And they're all cash flowing, which I'll go over now, how we make money. Why? Because we choose to use properties in other states that can offer, first off, a lower price point, right? And you're also looking at properties in other states where you know there is job expansion or different things that you can use that will make sense to you to see if you can make money there. So investing in other states are very important, and it's nothing wrong with it. My son, he didn't want to quite go out of state, but he did go upstate. He purchased an investment property upstate, and he's now renting it out to student housing. He chose a home that was near a college, which made, I didn't even think of that. Our kids will, our kids will teach you something, right? So he knew, he's always seen me in real estate, so he knew that was a pathway, but he wanted to find his own pathway, so he chose student housing, which is working for him. Case study. This is a property that, and this is the reason why I wanted to show you, because just so you can see what's out there. Here is a property that I purchased in 2019. Looks pretty rough, right? Yeah. Pretty rough. Can anybody guess how much I paid for it? Anybody else? $8,000. Now, mind you, and I found this on the MLS, so I didn't even go to a real estate agent. I just looked on the MLS, and I knew the area, and I said, okay, this is Jacksonville, by the way. I happened to go in, because I had 2 other properties there, and I went to when I first visited, I had never been to Jacksonville, but I just thought, there's something going on over there, and so I went to the airport, and I saw how they were building up the airport. And once you see that the area is, they're trying to build up the area, you know that they're putting investments back into the infrastructure, which is what you want to look for. So when I saw this property, they were asking $29,000. I bargained with them, and I got them down to $8,000. Now, it took about 4 months. We did put about $35,000 into it, and this is what it looked like afterwards. Buy and hold is one of the strategies that us real estate investors use, and it is by far the best, I think, one of the best strategies, because you avoid short-term capital gains taxes. So that just means you want to hold a property for at least a year before you sell it, so you don't have to pay that extra tax. So anyone want to guess how much I sold it for? After 3 years, I had rented it out for 3 years. Anyone want to guess how much I sold it for? Okay, that's a little extreme. Anyone else a little lower than that? $115,000. And one of the things that we did was, I know you're saying 1 minute. Okay, I'm trying. One of the things that we did was, you have to pay taxes regardless, right? So one of the government wants real estate investors to continue doing what they're doing, buying properties and so forth. So they have different incentives. One of the incentives that I used was called a 1031 exchange, because even with not having to pay short-term gains taxes on here, you still would have to pay long-term taxes. And so that would have been at least $20,000. However, if you reinvest the money in what we call a 1031, you don't have to pay any of it. You're basically kicking it down the road. The government knows that you made this money, but you have to reinvest it. So I actually never saw this money in my own bank account, but I used it to purchase another property. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this really quickly. Why invest in real estate? Act. Appreciation. Appreciation is the name of the game. That's what happened when I purchased that property for $8,000 and then sold it for $115,000. Houses, no matter where they are, well, that's the disclaimer, it should be in an area that is, up and rising, will appreciate, will be able to be worth more with time. So appreciation is the name of the game. Cash flow. So for those 3 years that I had that property, I rented it out and I paid cash, obviously, so I didn't have a mortgage on it. So that money that I received, I would have to do various expenses as they came up, but I was able to get that cash flow back. And back then, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath was gaining around $950 per month. Tax benefits, as I said before, a 1031 is what we would use as investors so that we don't have to pay the tax man, okay? So what we do is we reinvest, as I said, and then we just kick off that bill until you sell. Once you sell, you do have to pay, but just reinvest it. Reinvest your, just like what I was saying before in terms of being able to make little deposits in your savings account. If you keep making those deposits, automate them, eventually your money will grow and you'll see the benefit. Closing remarks. Keep your day job. I'm a teacher by trade. I've been a teacher for 27 years. And so I'm not trying to leave my job. I have a pension, my husband has a pension, and it makes a lot of sense for me to continue to work. Number one reason, when I purchase new properties, they want to see what income I have. Because if I didn't get to explain this part, but when I go ahead and do my taxes every year, of course I have a lot of rental income that I also don't pay taxes on because of the fact that there's such a thing as depreciation and other avenues for real estate investors to be able to offset taxes and lower your taxable income. I was able to do that even as working every day as a teacher. I was able to offset my W-2 income with my Airbnbs. Fund your 401, 403Bs, 457s. Those are also vehicles that you can use for the banks when you want to get a loan, a real estate investment loan. They'll ask you, well, do you have any savings in your 457? You can show that as savings. Employee match is another thing that you want to also, some of us who don't have pensions, if you have an employee match program, max it out. Because if you don't, you're like leaving money on the table, really. So you have your money that you're putting in and then employee money. Eventually that will build up. Use low cost. This is very, very important. The district that I work for subscribes to vendors for our 403Bs and our 457s that were insurance companies. We were able to find out that these insurance companies are charging 1% and 2% fees of your money without you even knowing. It's not even showing on the statement. And come to find out that what you can do, first off, I went ahead and I went to my union and I said, hey, how come we don't have any low-cost investment companies, brokerages here? And they said, oh, well, these are the ones we've always used. That's not a good excuse. And so through months and months of trying to connect the dots, I was able to get Vanguard as one of our vendors. And Vanguard, as well as Fidelity and Charles Schwab, are all companies that are low-cost brokerage funds. And they do not charge the 1% and 2%. There's always going to be expense ratios with everything, but they don't have that extra surcharge of 1% or 2%. That is not even shown to you. And the insurance companies, like Voya, that's one of the companies that was funding our 403B, they don't even show it to you on the statement what they're charging you. So if you can get your company to subscribe to one of these three, you'll definitely see the growth. We've seen over a lifetime of just saving money, tens of thousands of dollars that you guys don't even know that are being taken from you. So thank you very much. I just want to end with this scripture that I feel it was so potent that I read the other day. And it says, and Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are ye slack to go to possess the land which the Lord God your fathers has given you? I would just say that you would continue to think about how you can invest. If you're not a homeowner, go ahead and just push forward. And if you are a homeowner and interested in investing, try upstate or out of state to look at different properties so you can invest in and close that gap. Thank you.
That was amazing. Amazing. You know what? That really makes me think about years ago in Harlem, they sold brownstones for $1. And not to us. We should have protested. We should have protested. But what? Yeah. Yeah.
And they came to those auctions with cash.
Yeah.
Came with cash.
I mean, there are opportunities out here for us. We just have to seek it. We have to do our homework. Michelle, thank you so much. I mean, I am so impressed with Thank you so much.
Michelle, can you repeat the scripture? That was the request.
Yes.
Oh, okay, Joshua 18. Right.
Okay.
Joshua 18:3. Should I read it? The
Yes,
scripture?
read
Okay.
it, read
And
it.
Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are ye slack to go to possess the land, which the Lord God your fathers hath given you?
And let me tell you,
Amen.
I don't want to get churchy, but back in the day when the Jews did not listen, God killed them all off. Then the next generation, because they weren't taught, killed them off. Joshua and them, they went into the promised land by themselves. Food for thought. Anyway, Michelle, thank you so much. Let's give her another applause because that was just amazing, amazing, amazing. I learned a lot. Okay, so this is the last segment of our program. Okay, we have so many agencies and so many communities, programs that's within our community that we don't know about. So we have, a wealth of people here. It's a community forum discussion to learn about what's new and exciting resources development in Southeast Queens. And Tony is going to moderate it for us.
All right, so we are at the end of our program. I'm super excited. And pretty much what we're going to do with this segment is we're going to have round robin presentations where people are just going to come up to the microphone and talk about their organizations and what types of services they provide. Because definitely we need them to be in the know. I don't think that if you would like, you can come up to the front. But if not, you can just come up in the order that I'm about to call out, and you can talk about what your organization is doing. So first, what we're going to have Rachel Antoine from JFK Redevelopment. She's going to come up and talk about all of the great things that are going on at JFK. We can't wait for all of that construction to be done, right? And then we're going to have Jasmine Tapel from the Jamaica Plan, and she's going to come up and talk a little bit about what's going on in Jamaica with all of these buildings and all of this stuff coming up. And then we're going to have Harry Wells come up, and he's going to talk about York SBDC and what's going on with that. And then we're going to have Cleon Edwards, who's the Associate Executive Director at New York City Health and Hospitals, and he's going to talk about the expansion that's going on with all of the hospitals. So if you wouldn't mind, if all of you can come up and just have a seat, and then you can come up to the microphone in the order that I've listed. So first, we're going to have Rachel Antoine from JFK Redevelopment. Second, we're going to have Jasmine Tapal from the Jamaica Plan. And then I think we're going to have Cleon Edwards go third and Harry Wells go last. He's going to be the finisher today. We're saving the best for last. No, all of these are great organizations. So you don't have to stand up. You can just actually stay seated if you like. If you want to stand up, you can stand up. But this is a very important segment because all of you have important information about things that are going on in Southeast Queens that everyone needs to know. So without further ado, we're going to have Miss Rachel Antoine.
Awesome, great. Good evening, everyone. Is it morning or evening? Afternoon. Great. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you for the invitation to speak here. Just a little bit, since we are in the sanctuary, I was actually called to be in the sanctuary from 6 a.m. in the morning, and I just left the temple. I was cleaning, and the passage that I was reading was about building up the temple. And then when you mentioned Joshua, I needed you to repeat it again. almost felt like it was a confirmation as to what was happening this morning. So, and then just really looking at the title of this, Legacy by Design. My father, who's a pastor, like I've been doing a lot of work in the community, but truly neglecting the work of the church. So it's really good to see that things are really, where things all started, business conversation, housing conversation, community and families are happening back in the church. And we really need to bring that back. So this truly feels like a full circle moment to truly be here. But besides that, I'm going to talk about JFK. For those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Rachel Antoine. I oversee external affairs and community engagement for the $20 billion redevelopment of JFK Airport. And what that is the redevelopment of JFK Airport. We are rebuilding 4 different terminals, Terminal 1, Terminal 6, and Terminal 4, as well as American Airlines. So the largest terminal that we are rebuilding and reconstructing is Terminal 1. It is a $9.5 billion project. And the second to the largest terminal is Terminal 6. It's a $4.5 billion project, and the others are in the millions. So with that being said, for the past 5 years, we have been focusing on providing opportunities to the local community in conjunction to the development that's happening at York College. So my job, not York, at JFK, my work really was to ensure that the local businesses are getting their fair share at the airport, and that we're also building community initiatives to support the airport at large. I don't know if you guys want me to go and talk about it, or we can kind of like piggyback off each other. I can continue. That's fine. So some of the work that we're doing is focusing on business development, environmental stewardship, workforce development, as well as educational development. So we know that when we have such a large infrastructure happening in our community, the community doesn't really benefit. So we build out an advisory council to support that growth that's happening at the airport. And as a part of the advisory council, we have a portfolio where we build community initiative from scratch. So under the 4 main portfolio that I mentioned earlier, the business portfolio, we were able to get businesses from Southeast Queens into the airport, right? So how many of you guys know that when you're traveling through the airport, a lot of the stores that you're seeing are not from the community? All right, so with the JFK program, we had this incentive where we had to hire locally, and we also had to give 30% back to the local community. We also had to make sure the businesses that are surrounded by the airport have their fair share at the airport. And to date, I could really report out that we have about 13 local businesses. Not that they only have their business at the airport, they are JV partners at the airport. And some of them, we've seen them from the first day of outreach where we connected with them. One of them is Dawn Kelly. Many of you guys may have known her. She's a local natural juicer. She does a lot of juicing. I remember meeting her at the center of the office, and now she has her juice at American Airlines. So if you're traveling through there, you could see that. So that's one of the things we wanted to make sure that we're doing. And we also have a Golden Crest at the airport. The first Golden Crest, which is at American Airlines. This particular firm, when we worked with them, we know that in Southeast Queens, in Jamaica, Jamaican restaurant, Caribbean restaurant, how do we manage to get a black firm into concessions at the airport? And it was through outreach, through the work that we have been doing, and also working with the ESD to make sure that they're getting capital funding to get that opportunity at the airport. From a business component too as well, we have hired a lot of local firms, right? To date, we have given back about $3 billion back to Southeast Queens, just local hired firms that have been on the construction aspect of the project. That's from the workforce development. From the educational standpoint, we have invested a $3 million at York College, and this is our 7th cohort. We have graduated over 2,500 scholars. They're just getting direct touch point as to what's happening at the airport. Aviation opportunity, they're learning about STEMs, they're getting internship at the airport, and they're getting work opportunity at the airport. So that's more so on the educational aspect. About 2 months ago, we're still reviewing the application. We launched a $2 million scholarship between York College and Vaughan College, and that is providing a free ride opportunity to high schoolers that are entering college. So they'll get a free ride either at York College or Vaughn College for 4 years. And after that, we placed them at a direct job placement at the airport. We are building a lot around sustainability. We're still actively reviewing community proposals. I'm on camera, I'll say this. We do have a fund, a portfolio that each developers had put into a particular basket, I would say, and we get to use that fund to provide back to the community. So I'm more excited to share more with you all, and I'm here for any more questions that you may have.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine. I worked on a project called the Jamaican Neighborhood Plan, which many of you might be familiar with. But I think a really interesting thing when I was reading the letter that's inside the folder, this concept of legacy by design, is a really great one, because I think that that also applies to the Jamaican Neighborhood Plan. It was a concept of let's plan for the future of Jamaica. Nothing happens intentionally. Nothing happens by mistake. Everything that you see around a neighborhood happens because somebody made a decision for it to happen. And so similarly, we were thinking, what does the next 15 years of Jamaica look like? Let's start planning for it now, because 15 years goes by really fast. 15 years will be here before we know it. And there are, when we were going through this process, a lot of people were thinking about like their children and thinking about like, okay, what kind of life in Jamaica are we creating for our children in 15 years? And so we worked with many, many people and many, many different groups. So we did this in partnership with Dr. Natasha Williams, who is the council member for this area. And she helped really like champion this process. It was a 2-3 year process. We had a steering committee, and Monica was also in our steering committee and came to all our monthly meetings. We met almost every month for 2+ years. And it all accumulated to an end. And so that process finished last October. The idea was that we did 2 big things. The 2 things that we did was, number one, the city ended up committing over $400 million to Jamaica Queens for like a number of projects. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But the second thing that also happened was that we ended up updating a bunch of rules. Those rules help support things like, it's a little abstract, because the work that we do, we're not actually building anything. We're not building housing, we're not building a business, or anything like that. But the work that we did meant that now you have the opportunity to build that house, that hospital, that business. And I think this was coming back to this theme of legacy by design. It's like now there's a lot of opportunity coming to Jamaica that everyone should be aware of, especially as we're thinking about this economic opportunity. And when I talk about Jamaica, the area that I'm really focusing on is especially like the Jamaica Center, essentially. Jamaica Center, some of those major corridors like Merrick, Guyar, Hillside Avenue, those areas. And as you know, those areas are commercial areas. There are these commercial corridors. I'm sure everybody here has shopped down in Jamaica Avenue at some point in their lives. And so for us, like, there's many things to that plan that we were trying to do, but the thing I really want to like emphasize, especially for like everyone, is that there's a lot of opportunity for new businesses in those areas. The plan really does require that, like, if a new building is going up, like for example, Jamaica Avenue, let's say, they have to have businesses on the ground floor. Again, all of that opportunity. So when new businesses come up, there's new opportunity now for other businesses to go on those ground floors. And so I think if you can take away anything from this, is that whenever you start seeing like buildings going up, there is opportunity now to like have a business in that building. There's the Jamaica Bid, who works in that area and can connect you with those buildings that are going up. There's a lot of city services that are in the area, specifically with small business services, and they can also connect you with the buildings going up. But yeah, so that's one big thing that I just want to emphasize. But separate from that, going back to that investment that came with the neighborhood plan, so there's a number of projects. I don't have the time to get into all of them, but the two key things that you need to know is that number one, Councilmember Dr. Natasha Williams is going to be convening a post rezoning task force, is what she's calling it. So all these commitments that we had from the neighborhood plan, she's going to be convening many groups in Jamaica, or many residents, whoever wants to join this committee, to make sure that the city is going to deliver on all those promises that came out of the neighborhood plan. So follow her newsletter. I know she's gonna talk more about it there. She's gonna share a bunch more information, but that's like a key place if you're interested to continue like following along in this process and the outcomes from it. That is like the best place to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Tough acts to follow. I'm Cleon Edwards. I'm the Director of External Affairs at Queens Hospital. Many of you may know it as Queens General from years ago. People still call it that. But sitting here and listening, the one thing I keep thinking about is the one thing that's inevitable in life is change. And there are two people in the world, folks who are prepared for that change and people who are not. And I'm glad I'm sitting next to the rep from Jamaica Neighborhood Plan, because that was something that for us for the last couple of years at the hospital, we heard about it. We knew it was happening. We sort of had a fair understanding of what it was supposed to do and what it was about. But we probably didn't have the foresight to get more involved. And luckily, it turned out pretty well for us. But we should have been all over it. Because as a hospital, when you see neighborhoods changing and new businesses and money coming in and economic development and people, that means growth. That means more people. And while that kind of change is, for the most part, if it's intentional, can have a lot of great benefits for people who live there, there's also another side to that, and it can put a strain on the social infrastructure. So institutions like hospitals, there's an effect. So when people want to come to the emergency room, and now that there are more people in the neighborhood, that can have a negative effect if you're not prepared. So the thing with the Jamaica Neighborhood Plan is that the hospital physically was not within the catchment area. So our thinking was, well, we're not in the catchment area. There are going to be a lot of organizations sort of competing for these funds. But we should have been more intentional in saying, making the case that even though we're not physically within the boundaries, that people from those neighborhoods still come to the hospital. And for the change that's coming for the neighborhood, for it to be successful, the hospital has to be prepared to deal with that change. Fortunately, we have a councilwoman, Natasha Williams, who does have that foresight, who does think like that. And so probably a couple of days before all of the applications were due, I kind of got a phone call and got scolded and was told, you need to get a plan in, you need to get a proposal in immediately. By the next day, we had something in. Over the next couple of weeks, we kind of kept tweaking it and changing it, and they were very receptive, but they were very insistent, they were very intentional in saying to us, you need to get a plan in. It doesn't matter that you're not physically in, but the people you serve are part of that development. So we did it, and long story short, we ended up getting $70 million to expand, to do the expansion. And we have one of our cab members, Carolyn Phillips, who's in the back. And we really do, and she was part of that process as well in terms of pushing us along. And it's important for institutions to listen to people who are going to be impacted by change. And so someone like Carolyn is very important because she can convey to us what the sentiment of people in the community are. Both the good and bad, because all of these things come in and it's well-intentioned. But again, if you're not intentional in terms of how you prepare for it, a good thing can quickly turn into something that's not as good as it should be. So we're fortunate because we listen to members of the community, and because we have good relationships with our elected officials. And for someone like Council Member Williams to sort of do that is huge, because she didn't, but she had the foresight to say that she knew she was investing in something that she knows, if it's done properly, is going to have tremendous benefits for the community. But again, she had the foresight to know that, there's a bigger picture, and that the partnerships had to expand beyond just the businesses in the community, and to include social institutions that are there for the benefit of the people. We're the gateway with both the airports near the hospital when there's a pandemic. And we were among the first wave with Elmhurst. There are only two public hospitals in the borough. So when this country, when a pandemic or something like that impacts this country, we're the first, because we have the airports and people are coming into New York, which is a huge gateway into this country. So we felt the first wave of a lot of that. And with things like Ebola, again, we need to be prepared. So, I just want to thank the folks in the Jamaica Neighborhood Plan and the Councilwoman's office for thinking of us and for thinking of the community. And we're going to now be in a better position, and I'm glad there's going to be a post committee to make sure that because we haven't seen the $70 million check yet. So we're glad to hear the committee exists. I'm looking forward to working with my new friend here at the end, because I know that's another important project. And the hospital is an important anchor institution in this community. And we have to be there. I see my 1 minute prompt. And we have to be prepared to do our part, because what we don't want is for folks who live in these communities to feel they have to go to Manhattan or Long Island or somewhere else. So Queens Hospital, we've introduced robotic surgery. We have a new hip and knee center. So if there are people with creaky knees and hips, you don't have to go to Manhattan. You can come to Queens. We have a fabulous program. And we want to sort of get out there and let people know that we're a community hospital, but the neighborhood we serve is the entire world. We have staff who speak every language you can think of. We look like the community. We speak their language. And we want them to know that we're on the path to becoming the best community hospital in the nation, because we know that the people we serve deserve that. So if you're interested in learning more about the hospital, you can talk to me, you can talk to Carolyn. We would love some more members on our community advisory board. So I see someone waving in the back, so I'm going to go talk to you later. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Harry Wells. I work for the York College Small Business Development Center. The York College Small Business Development Center, we've been in York College for 40 years. In 40 years, we have serviced over 14,000 clients, et cetera, raised hundreds of millions of dollars for business owners. I've been director for the last 12 years or so. It's been a great experience, et cetera. We have been able to, we're judged about how, we're funded by the SBA, so we're judged by how much economic impact, how much financing we can acquire for our clients. When I first became director, we were doing about $2 million a year in getting economic impact. The most we have done in 1 year is $25 million. We have business owners get $25 million of financing to help them move their business forward. My staff has been there, staff members, we've been there, 3 of us have been there 20 plus years. One guy's been there 29 years. So we worked on the World Trade Center, we worked on the Superstorm Sandy, we worked through the pandemic. So over the years, we have probably done more bigger projects. We still do all kind of projects, but we've developed the skills to, like, in the last couple of weeks, we helped, last couple of months, we helped a guy purchase a recording studio. That was $1 million. We are helping the church get financing in Southeast Queens, etc. So the whole thing here is securing the bag. So the first stage to securing the bag is that the entrepreneur has to improve their skills. I've had a client from this area. She owned 3 Golden Crusts. She wasn't paying her taxes. Uncle Sam shut her down. When they shut her down, she went to her accountant. Her accountant booked on her, etc. So she lost 3 Golden Crusts. They wrote about this woman in the New York Times, and she was out of business. So business owners have to upgrade their skills, etc. There's been positive and negatives. We've done some great things, I think. One guy we helped get a concession during the World Trade Center disaster. He was 62 years old, retired. From the time he was 62 to the time he's 68, he built a $60 million a year business doing international freight. I learned more from him than he learned from me. One of my big success stories is that we helped a black Wall Street executive. We helped him do some financing for a project he was in. Since we're a national organization, we helped him do a project in Las Vegas. On that project, we helped him get $23 million. I flew out to Vegas. It was a great thing. They said, look, this guy's from Queens. His father works for Congressman Meeks, etc., blah, blah, blah. And they said, we've never seen so many black men involved in a project. Boy, that made me feel great. So I think there's a lot of opportunities in Queens. I think we're just getting started. We need to keep on pushing forward. When I talk about success stories, then I talk about maybe not so many success. One of the biggest disappointment to me was a guy named Daryl Stobart. He was from Far Rockaway. I helped him join the New York City School Construction Authority, join their program. He was doing $300,000 a year in business. They took him from $300,000 to $8 million. When you're a part of the New York City School Construction Authority, they give you the contracts, they give you the financing, they give you bonding. He went from $300,000 to $8 million. When I did his certification, I had to drive to Far Rockaway. He had a little trailer. I had to go, where's this record? Where's this thing we could submit to your application? He was doing well, but then Superstorm Sandy hit. It blew that trailer away, destroyed it. Now he's out of business. He's no longer in business. So I want you guys to help me. Help me to go back and relive that situation and take a bad thing and make it to a good thing. I say that because right now the York College Small Business Development Center, we're launching an initiative with the New York City School Construction Authority project. It's a $20.5 billion project. It's going to help, and it's a $20.5 billion project. Most of the money is coming into Queens. So they're targeting the Queens area, and they've asked the York College School Construction, SBDC, to really help organize this and get this program moving forward. They haven't given me an official start date, but it's going to be sometime this summer. So let's get together. They have more, it's the School Construction Authority, so they have construction contracts, but they have more contracts in professional services for accountants, bookkeepers. I saw a contract is available for cafeteria experience, et cetera. They have food services, et cetera. So let's put our heads together. You talking about creating generational wealth. Some of these contracts are big contracts. So work with us. We'll start small and big and start building. And when you hit the big time, don't forget about the old man. Thank you.
All right, so I want to, first and foremost, does anyone have any questions for any of these great, fantastic individuals and their organizations? All right. With that being said, I want to thank you all for participating, for letting everybody know what's going on at JFK, what's going on with the Jamaica Plan, what's going on with New York City Health and Hospitals, and definitely let's work with Harry Wells at York SBDC so we can create the next success story, because the next success story might be in this room, or it might be someone online that's watching, but the opportunities are there. We just have to step into it. So don't let fear prevent you from taking that step towards a brighter future. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Can I just say one last thing?
Sure.
And thank you for inviting me. But I know your organization every single year, along with a number of other women's organizations, comes to the hospital on an annual basis to donate these wonderful gift bags for
Maternal health.
Yes, maternal health, our
wins,
NICU
yes.
unit. So I just want to thank you for that. It's one of the best things that happens throughout the years. Another example of how organizations can work with institutions like ours, and there are a lot of families that are vulnerable and they need that help, and I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. So, question. Let me come over there. We can't hear you.
He probably said it already. I'm just curious about the funding. Who's funding your college to give this money to give up?
School construction. New York City school construction, that's right.
Yes, the money is coming. The money is coming from the New York City School Construction Authority. It's a $20.5 billion program. And then they're rebuilding all the schools throughout New York City. And Queens has been, I think about $3 or $4 billion is coming into Queens. So the guy who runs the program, he and I, his name is Greg Glasgow. He and I worked on a program 20-some years ago. I've known him for a long time, so he asked me to help him target Brooklyn and Queens so we can make sure more women and minority MWBEs get their fair share. One thing I also want to say is that in terms of the JFK, we're talking about a lot of opportunities at JFK. Over the last few years, I've been working with some black executives from Wall Street. So a couple years ago, I got them to sit down and talk with people from JFK. These people are Wall Street, and they have money that they want to put into projects. But the problem was, you couldn't get people, our people could not give them the records that they needed. So, I mean, these people, they want to help, but you got to come to them correct too. So we still have them available. All I'm trying to say is there's more than one ways to skin a cat. Traditional financing, non-traditional financing, financing from these type of people. So let's make Queens a hotspot.
So one last thing. So, I would think that you're really saying, if you have a business plan that, they think is a good plan, then they would be willing to fund it, provided that, the person that's doing it can show them the paperwork and the
If you get in
plan.
that program, they provide financing, they provide the bonding for you, etc. Once they give you a contract, they provide the financing for that. So access to capital is not such a big thing. Getting you ready to prepare to take advantage of these offers, that's what we're trying to do.
Yes, Harry wants everybody that's in business to have all of their paperwork together. So when you get started, you want to make sure you go to the Queens County Clerk's office and get yourself together, get your good accountant to set your business up properly, and most importantly, do your taxes. Do your taxes and keep good records, and that's the way you can get some of this money. Because it's one thing to, say you're in business, but then when people look underneath the hood, there's nothing there, right? So thank you, Harry Wells. Thank you all. Thank you so much. So Valerie, come up with me.
Come to York College. Visit York College at least.
So everyone, reach out to our resources. You saw the resources. There's still tables back there. If they're not gone, get these resources and hold them and share them with your family and friends. So this is the end of our program. And I thank each and every one of you on behalf of the National Council of Negro Women, Queens County Section, and New Greater Bethel Ministries. We thank you so much for making our Secure the Bag Part 2 a success. Now, inside your folders, there was a QR code. Please fill it out so that we can rate us. So you can rate us and see how we did and see how we can improve. And also, if you would like to donate, you can donate to us, the second QR code over here. I'm going to bring up our EEE, for short, Economic Empowerment and Entrepreneurship, Monica Pringle Chair, and our event chair. And is our president still here, Madam President? And let you all, I just want to introduce, I'm coughing, Monica Pringle. She's our chair of the Economic Empowerment and Entrepreneurship. And Tony Coleman Brown, she was the chair for this whole event. She did such a great job. So Madam President, closing words or closing remarks?
I'm so proud of the Economic Empowerment Committees. All these ladies are part of that committee. They did a fabulous job bringing all this wealth of information to us, to the community. I'm hoping people online, we don't have a lot of people here, but we do have people online that are watching. And so I'm just hope that they all have heard so much information that we've shared. We have more people from the Economic Empowerment Committee coming. We fed you. We gave you information, mental stimulation as well as physical stimulation. And hopefully you'll take that information and develop it into something more with your family and friends. So thank you so very much for being here. We appreciate you. And Monica, you want to say something?
On behalf of all of our members, we're not large. We're not a large group, but we work hard to make sure that we bring the important information you need for our community. At the end of the program, you'll receive information, am I correct, Tony? With all of our vendors, all of our speakers, information, because you asked us for that. We want to make sure you have it. Remember 2030. We all hope to be here 2030, and I don't think it'll look the same way, but we'll be here, okay? Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Thank you. And thank you to our other members that have come out. We appreciate you so much.